The Week by ANTO NEOSOUL, and before we get comments of that song, I hope you liked it. Well, do let us know. You feel free to participate in the conversation. You can let us know via Twitter what your thoughts are on that song, whether it's a hit or a miss. But let me start by first of all introducing the panel that we have this morning, and that's for Hot Topics. And I'll start with my immediate left, where we have Quinta, who is an editor with The Standard. Thank you for joining us. We also have Steven Mwendo, who I'm sure by now we all know, basically an editor with a pulse. And last but not least, we also have Boyo, who's also an editor with Standard Group. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Let's first of all start with that song, ANTO NEOSOUL's new song, and your thoughts on it. Let me start with you, Stevens. Now that we have ladies, I'll start with the gentlemen.
Yeah, and the ladies are looking beautiful.
Oh yes, they're looking great. Yeah. And talk about gender parity. We are literally 50%. We're not even doing 2/3.
Oh, this is
50%.
Yes.
We're on point.
I just want to remind everybody how ANTO NEOSOUL went hard and said, Waire is much, and if he needs to up his game, he needs to consult him. Just a day ago. Wow. Paraphrased, not those words. And so Waire releases a song, and ANTO NEOSOUL releases a song. And like Boyo said some minutes ago, we see a different side of ANTO NEOSOUL. And I think in this song, he has a message. The song has a message, and the video is really... like somebody said, it's a film. It tells a story. And as much as I'm not a reggae person, I think I would follow the story to the end. And so for me, big up.
All right, and well, yes, it definitely has a reggae tune. Quinta, what your take on this reggae song? We want to hear what you have to say.
What did you used to do before this?
In my other life, I was a DJ. I was a DJ all the way from Jamaica. But anyway, carry on.
Come up with, to rival his lyrics. It's not coming to anywhere. In the past we have really bashed Kenyan artists on this show, yes. That our songs are empty. There are no lyrics. The video is crap. I love this video. I love the story. When we were watching it, we all went quiet because we could relate to what we were seeing in the video.
And the song is catchy. It kind of draws you in.
Yes, it's very nice. You could see somebody sat down and put some thought process into it. And the outcome is amazing. I love it. If it is a theme song for a movie, well, I can't wait I'll wait for our movie guy, Smita, to hit us up with that one.
With that one.
Yes.
Yes, and it's supposed to have a movie attached to it, which we'll see whether we can catch up with ANTO NEOSOUL to basically give us an update on that, which is supposed to be released sometime between this week and next week. Boyo, your thoughts on the song?
I like the song. The fact that it does not have the usual chicks twerking and club scene. This has a storyline. It is more conscious. It's different. I love that fact. But also he does not have to compete with Waire. Waire is more dancehall and him is conscious. So it's two different lanes. Unless it's relevancy, because Waire is the king of reincarnation.
I think it's a wise move when he says Waire, because Waire, we know him as big dancehall. And I think this is ANTO NEOSOUL saying dancehall and reggae, I can also try this, something different. And I think it's just saying, look, you guys, I'm here. And
I guess the beauty of an artist who's versatile, who's able to change around and especially release a track which is not in his kawaida, but still be able to capture is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and let us know what your thoughts are on that particular song, if it's a hit or a miss. But moving on, another hot topic was something we talked about last week, and this was, I think I read somewhere, the only Kim that Donald Trump could get. And remember, he was trying to get Kim Jong-un, but that, of course, had not gone down very well. However, there was another Kim who caught his attention, Kim Kardashian. And this was to do with the release of one Anne-Marie Johnson, who had been jailed for dealing with narcotics. But and I've seen on the Pulse today, you've talked about the influence of social media and how we communicate. Right. This was a video that Kim Kardashian came across of Anne-Marie Johnson, and it moved her to tears to a point where she sought an appointment with Donald Trump, and for one reason or the other, Donald Trump accepted. And her reason for trying to get Donald Trump was to have this woman released. And we have the video of when she was actually released before we just go into the comments of that. And if we can play that, Anne-Marie Johnson's release and when she meets her family. All right, it's not there, but hopefully we shall get it as we carry on. But I remember I watched it, and one of the things she was saying, for the last, I think, for more than 25 years, she has not been in a car without handcuffs. So for the first time. Queen, your thoughts on this?
Well, what really struck me about this story is the evolution of Kim Kardashian. It's interesting that a Hollywood socialite could actually front prison reforms. And for me, when I read that story and I watched the clip, I realized that when you're in a position of influence, there's a lot more that you can do with that power as opposed to, just getting social media likes. I love the fact that Kim stepped out of her zone. In fact, she said it's not the last time. She said after Miss Johnson, she's actually going to push for more. But I'm also happy for the family, even though I don't advocate for people to, get involved in drugs. But, we have many cases, even here in Kenya, we have many cases of people who have gone to prison. Chicken thieves who have been in prison for life. Yes, so I wish our own socialites. Yes, in Kenya only chicken thieves are persecuted. Yes.
And for years, when we have people who've got billions stashed in their accounts,
yes.
Basically scot-free.
But my point is, I hope our socialites, and not just socialites, our public figures, anybody who has a position of influence, Mike, you, me, Stevens, and even anybody, if something is going wrong, then if you have a voice, please speak up. You just don't know who could be watching.
Absolutely. That's true.
And also speak against evil things, too. I mean, if somebody's doing drugs, see a fungwe.
For life.
No, not for life.
For life.
If somebody's doing corruption,
corruption
we
is
want. I don't think we're in a time when we should entertain the evils of the times, and I think for me, I wouldn't sit and praise, as you call her, a socialite. I think she just found a soft place in the president. Because he's been a role, trying to pardon people. It's not the first time he's pardoning somebody in the last 2 or 3 months and so.
Stevens, it's Kim
and
Kardashian.
So I think he just found a soft time and a soft place that he could talk about something, then she achieves. For her, it's again, for the release, yes, for the family, yes, but is it the right thing the president could have done at that time?
But looking at the emotion that it provoked in terms of this lady, if you hear her story, and I want us to watch the video, we now have it, just looking at her reaction, Stevens, don't you think that maybe Kim Kardashian, okay, I don't want to say for once, has done something that we need to applaud? And Vera Sidika, in case you're watching, there are many chicken thieves who probably need their release, so please do something. But anyway, let's watch the video.
Johnson has been released from prison. President Trump commuted her sentence after Kim Kardashian advocated for her release last week at the White House. Johnson was sentenced for a non-violent drug crime in 1996. She served 21 years of a life sentence, and this is our first glimpse of her being released. Kim Kardashian thanked President Trump in this tweet, saying, "So grateful to President Trump, Jared Kushner, and to everyone who has showed compassion and contributed countless hours to this important moment for Miss Elise Marie Johnson."
So, yeah, as we advise Vera Sidika, because she's huge in many things, so maybe she could be huge on social media.
Somebody, Otile Brown has been around for 2 months now. That's a good thing.
Otile Brown has been around.
Boyo.
Yes. We cannot downplay that Kim did not do a good thing. This is one thing she stepped out of her stepping zone and did. The fact that Alice is the lady's called Alice Marie, right? Yeah.
Yes.
She was jailed. She served some time. But what Kim was arguing is that the time was too long in regards to the offense that she had done. Yes. So at least she was released. Now she can rejoin the family. And it's one thing better than the nudes that she keeps on posting.
So you're saying the legal
system?
Thing. You already are doing the legal systems that
still not outdoing the legal system. The legal system undermines this lady.
No, listen. By the way, I beg to support Boy on this. It's not like this lady does not deserve imprisonment.
She has served.
She's been in prison since 1996, for crying out loud. There is a punishment meant for that kind of offense. suddenly not life, all right? And I'm saying there are people who are doing very bad things and they're walking around, catwalking around our cities scot-free, all right? So if Kim Kardashian, I mean, it's not her usual kind of, that's not what she does for a living. She doesn't advocate for prison reforms. Then she is touched by this incident. Even if she did it for social media hits, it worked.
And maybe now that we're on social media, Stevens, you could just give us a little bit of what is on the pulse in regards to how social media has transformed our communication, because this is literally an example we could use. It's a video that was done, went on social media, and somehow, by chance, got to Kim Kardashian. After Kim Kardashian seeing the video, basically was moved and decided to do something about it, and here we are talking about it. So, Stevens.
Mike, I think you're buying my way out of right now. In a very soft way.
No, I'm just trying to get your pulse out there, knowing that this is your own point.
Yeah, we of course on point, and I saw this yesterday in the morning when she was talking to the tech boys here, and just the influence of social media nowadays, the good and the bad of it. Look at the numbers that we have worldwide and in Kenya here. That so many influences and so many things that are happening now are being broken or are being discussed in social media, from the Facebooks to the Twitters and everything that you have. And so I think if you approach somebody like, if you're looking for Trump, for example, and you go on Twitter and he has a chance to see it, you can be so sure that he will respond. And that's why I'm saying, I think they touched a very soft place or spot where Trump would just know this. And what you're talking about today in Pulse is just, you know, our cover story is social media and the influences that have been there. And we just taken it from like 10 years ago when, you know, the so-called WhatsApp would have started.
Right.
And up to today when, like Zizi would just give us the figures like she did yesterday, everybody, every other second, millions and millions of people, texts, you know, chats are happening.
And it has just changed the way we communicate.
And it's not just social media talking of Kardashians and all those guys. We're talking about the same terms of music and how our musicians and our artists are using this to influence their followers and also sell their art.
And
so there it is for
still
you today.
on social media, one of the things that brought a story that is still coming back, and this, of course, has been brought back by the fact that Issa Rae has had a hit at Kanye West. Remember the issue that Kanye West was basically saying that for us to have been slaves, or blacks to have been slaves for this long, it is a choice. So it's come back again, and Issa Rae, let's just listen into what she had to say as she was basically hitting out on Kanye. A slight challenge there with the sound, but basically she was hitting out at Kanye West. But of course the comments that he made didn't go down well, especially because by virtue of I mean, I would hate to imagine if Kanye was by any chance white and he said that. He'd be lynched.
Of course.
Queen.
Okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Kanye West is basically somebody who has been hit by the Kardashian curse. I have no further comment. Yeah.
Stevens, your thoughts on Kanye's comments and also the fact that...
The way I understand Kanye and his character as an artist, I don't know him at home with the curse.
Do you want me to explain?
No, really.
Okay.
No, I think he...
I think he takes the controversial end of things to make something out of himself. We saw him try to, you know, ambush Trump, and by the end of it, he went to White House and they ate, I don't know if they ate ugali there, or rice, or what. But that is his nature, and so there is nothing that shocks me about his ambush on her, and there's nothing that shocks me on the reverse of the same.
On the reverse of the same. And it's a story that's likely to carry on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
let me just hear from Boyo before you come in. I know you want to come in. You had said no further comments, so let's hear from Boyo, then we'll come back to you.
So Kanye said being black, being
a slave for this long is a choice.
Is a choice. Yeah. That's the same thing he's doing. He recently said that he has bipolar, which I think is by choice. He's choosing to use his bipolar to his benefit. Why does he only come out and rant when he's about to release an album, when he's about to release the latest of his latest work. So he's using the bipolar in his advantage. But the good thing about Kanye, I like the fact that he sampled a Kenyan song.
Yeah.
On his new album.
Absolutely,
Nice,
yes. And that's something to look forward to. There's something you wanted to say.
Yes, this one. I wanted to say this, that Kanye, before Kanye met Kim, Kanye was an award-winning, talented, artist, producer, singer, songwriter,
Right.
producer. Yes. And if
He
you
still is, though.
no, I don't know.
still
There's
is.
just something about
But he
him.
doesn't have
You see, the thing is, before he met Kardashian, I actually could listen to Kanye and just appreciate the kind
So
of...
are you blaming the Kardashians for his
since he
current
met,
state
yes,
of bipolar?
yes,
Call it
that
a curse.
curse.
Very strong word there.
He's basically just running around, rambling and doing all sorts of interesting things. Yes, just like all the other men who have the same disease, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering what that rant is about, we now have sound on that, so we're going to play it. But I also want to look at, you're talking about him being bipolar and the curse, but there seems to be generally something that we need to discuss in regards to mental health for celebrities. But let's first of all listen to what Issa Rae had to say.
And this, from just a few hours ago, you know, when I'm left to my own devices, I'm about as fashionable as Kanye is black. Only when it's convenient. You guys, that joke was my choice, just like slavery. Come on. He has a #1 album. He's all right. But back to my...
And some pretty harsh words there. But talking about his mental health, something else that also happened. Kate Spade commits suicide. And I was just reading through some of the stories and some of the people in the limelight. For instance, there's a gentleman known as Stephen Kalka, who's a former England player. And he was saying that he's going through depression. But when you look at his life from this side, if we may call it, it looks like a rosy life. Somebody who's earning, very well. But there seems to be a problem. I mean, Kate Spade was, sprung into the limelight a while ago, but she's by all means and standards from our side somebody who you'd want to be in terms of, but maybe it's something that it's a discussion that needs to be had in terms of mental health.
Oh, yes, Mike. The issue of mental health, I think one of our own, she's called Neema Ntalel. I listened to her a while back. I think she was talking about her sinking into depression. And what she was saying is that, when somebody is sick, well, in the head, mentally, more often than not, people do not understand. Yes, I might look really glamorous, nice, well put together, but deep down...
This clothes hides a lot.
I'm dying actually. And it's very easy for people to just, assume people. And, before they know it, we hear in the news that somebody committed suicide or they died. I think it is important for us to be able to have a circle of people around us that we can trust, who we can open up to, because that will be our support system. I'm not so sure we have that kind of support system. But mental illness is
something that needs to be discussed. Stevens, you interact a lot with people in the limelight, celebrities, as we call them. I sometimes have a problem with that term, but let's just use it for now. Celebrities.
No,
because celebrities really are meant to be celebrated. I don't want to name names here, but some of the people we call celebrities, I beg to differ. But anyway, that's not the point.
Steve says he decides. He decides who becomes a celebrity. Pulse decides.
That's fine. That's okay. But you interact a lot with them. And sometimes one may think they live they're superhuman.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is they're as human as you are, as you and I are.
Right.
Your thoughts on,
I just started by supporting her, and we miss her. She's an award-winning musician now. I mean, interacted. Yes,
oh,
yes. I just feel deep also about what she was going through. And I just remember, Mike, if you led me, this week, sometimes on Wednesday, I had a class on health communication and touches on things
and
like
just
that.
so that you know, that's Stephen's way of telling us he's still in school and getting educated. But that's fine. We understand that he was in class. We got that.
And actually, I don't know how this comes in just right like you mean.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
one of those things we learn is that if your mental ability to get things right is so wrong, then your life is messed up in the real sense. And the problem begins when you seal that inside you and nobody seems to understand you. And that's why we find most of our celebrities, where you pose this life of, I am doing well, I have so much money, I'm getting so many shows, you know, I'm living the life. And what that forces you to do is that even as you fake the life, you end up doing things that, of course, try to justify that you're doing the same, whether you're borrowing money from friends, whether you are trying to, you know, get a car on loan or something. And as these things pile up, you discover your life is sinking, and so you enter into depression. And so that comes to the mental ability of a human being in terms of, hey, I think I've lost it now. And that's why we find most of our celebrities now. You find somebody is a well-talented musician, but by the end of it, because you don't get the quick gains that you expected, before we know it, you disappear from
Absolutely. And sometimes there's so much pressure. And as we talk about that, now let's come to local scene. And we have the likes of, for instance, Kanzedena, who is a celebrated TV anchor. But, of course, there was beef with one of the headlines that was there, but I don't want to get into that now. But coming to you, Boyo, the fact that now she's been, nominated as the deputy to Manoa Esipisu State House spokesperson. But again, there's that pressure. It's a job like any other one would like to think. But because you've been on the silver screen, you've been on TV, there's this pressure that you have to live life in a certain way.
She doesn't have to live life in a certain way. As people, as popular people and celebrities, you tend to get into pressure of showing people, I am doing well. But it's not a must for you to say you're doing well when you're not doing well. It's okay to say, this time I am down, or I'm struggling, instead of putting a face that you cannot sustain. And as compared to what Kate Spade was going through, she did not want to go for the treatment because she did not want that her being depressed as affect her brand. Right. So she refused to go for treatment. But for now, in Kenya, we have this, what is it called, slogan of toughen it out. Mental illness is not a disease. It's something that you can come out of it, but seek treatment. And for Kanzedena, congratulations. I hope she does not turn out like the rest who have been there.
Absolutely.
Or are still
and we
there.
also have Chipukizi, who's also been given a position in Nakada.
My question is, and my plea to Chipukizi is that make it better than Jaguar did it for the young people. Because I think the president does us justice, try to get young people into positions of influence.
But what do they do with that position?
What do you do with that position? I mean, you're talking about an age where young people are involved in drug abuse and all those things. And you have a chance to speak to us and you know, do those rallies and be all over Kenya just preaching young people live good life. I don't think we did the best we would have done during Jaguar's time. I know there was a lot of fights with Mutudo and who is eating money and who is not. But I hope that these young people who have been put into positions of power do not start using those positions to campaign and become politicians like those guys now. I think they should speak power to the young people.
Okay, and you've just used the term there. There's a day I was talking about peculiar Kenyan language. And you've just used the term there that is very peculiarly Kenyan. Who is eating money? Do you know, to a foreigner, they're thinking, how do you eat money? How do you literally eat money? But anyway, we know what that means. But your thoughts on, basically some of those nominations and the fact that these are jobs, but because there's so much pressure from, your fans and the society, I wonder how one operates now to work professionally, especially for somebody like Chipukizi. I mean, we were talking about, it's changing from a very unserious environment to a very serious environment.
Maybe even before I comment about Chipukizi, about, artists going through the depression and other mental illnesses, we need some form of support group. And that the thing about it is in Kenya, people don't treat counseling seriously. Yeah, they say it's for wimps. But people who have gone through counseling will tell you that it is a life changer. Anyway, back to Chipukizi, you know, who has predominantly been...
They're like yours.
Yeah. Steve. No, but if it means the president is watching and, you know, thinking about appointing the next director of, you know,
we might be sitting here with Queen.
I'm here. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Anyway. Chipukizi's appointment, I think, is one that the president thought of well. He's a comedian, and I hope people will take him seriously when he starts campaigning for, you know, against drug abuse and all the issues related to it. I hope that he'll be able to transition well and use, like we said, use that position of influence to, you know, come through for people who are now involved in a lot of drugs. There's a lot of shisha smoke, even though it's banned. There's a lot of, you know, a lot going on among our youth, and I believe Chipukizi should be able to come through. I hope he doesn't use it to benefit himself.
All right, and well, we're just about to wind up, but let me bring in Zinzi Kibiku here, and I saw her on her phone, you know, literally on social media, probably, you know, communicating with the world. Zinzi, your thoughts on the hot topics this week and some of those appointments as well?
I'm glad that you guys actually talked about the issue of mental illness. It's something that as society, especially on the African continent, because either we keep quiet about it or we say that's a witchcraft thing. When we shouldn't
There's
be doing
actually a taboo behind it.
It's a taboo behind it.
Depression, you'll think somebody has gone crazy.
And that's not the case, really. But as for Kanye West, I miss the old Kanye West. I'm with you on that. I miss the old Kanye. Yes, I miss the old Kanye West.
What else? Divorcing then.
No, I guess the moral of the story is keep off Kim.
Keep off. That's divorce then.
Any Kardashian.
He seems to be happy with Kim.
And that's a problem then.
I don't.
Well.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right. So I guess that's where we will close off the show. Thank you so much, Hot Topics crew, for coming down and giving us an overview. Make sure you grab your pulse as well as the Nairobian. It has all the juicy details.
By the way, the Nairobian has a very interesting headline. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but my goodness.
It's just something I cannot say from where I'm seated.
That means you guys need to grab a copy of the Nairobian.
Yes, and it's just to give you a teaser. It's to do with legislators, but not legislating in this case. They were making something that we can't mention here. So please get yourself a copy of the Nairobian. Yeah.
All right, so from the Morning Express team right here and everyone, Michael Kitonga and myself, Zinzi Kibiku, that is where we would love to close off the show. But up next is News Center, and I'll see you tomorrow morning on Weekend Express. We have so much in store for you. But for now, it's bye-bye.